Fatality.
Before I get into the story, why is my webcam pointing out this glass? I just got myself a nice vintage 2019 Belle Delphine Bathwater. All right, let's see what this old lady tastes like. Never mind. Terrible, very terrible. I gotta wash it out with this. Anyways, let's get on with the story here. So if you don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is, he was one of the Clintons' backers, supporters, etc. He also had a dabbling in Donald Trump's life, but I think he banned him from his Mar-a-Lago resorts. I'm not too quite sure on that because you don't know who to believe anymore. So let's go ahead and read the story real quick. Where is my damn cursor at? Okay. Here. From MSN, a left-wing source, by the way, far left-wing. Jeffrey Epstein is accused of luring girls into his Manhattan mansion and abusing them. Federal prosecutors appear to have resurrected a federal sex crimes case against the billionaire financier Jeffrey Epstein by focusing on accusations that he sexually assaulted girls at his mansion in Manhattan more than a decade after widely criticized plea deals shielded him from similar charges in Florida. Must be nice to have all that money and get shielded by plea deals. Federal prosecutors are expected to unseal the new charges on Monday, accusing of Epstein, 66, of running a sex trafficking operation that lured dozens of underage girls, some as young as 14, to his Upper East Side home, according to 3 law enforcement officials. He was arrested Saturday at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey after arriving on a private flight from France. 2 law enforcement officials said the sex trafficking charges carry a combined sentence up to 45 years. Much past the expiration date, if you will. New charges are a revival of a years-long case against Mr. Epstein, who faced similar accusations involving young girls who told police that they were brought to his mansion in South Florida and assaulted. The case unraveled in 2008 when Mr. Epstein was offered a secret plea deal by federal prosecutors for one who is now in President Trump's cabinet. Okay? I don't see how that's okay. In fact, Mr. Epstein has long had links to a wide array of high-profile officials, celebrities, and business moguls, from Mr. Trump to Bill Clinton to Prince Andrew. That's correct. In the era of #MeToo, Mr. Epstein's case has remained stubbornly unresolved for years. Women have accused Mr. Epstein in civil lawsuits and complaints to the police of preying on them when they were underage. Still, for more than a decade, he was shielded from federal charges by a secret plea deal. Notice how they haven't mentioned Mike Cernovich, because he was, gotta give credit where credit is due. Mike Cernovich kept on, and he finally got it. Mr. Epstein is charged with using his vast network of contacts and associates to bring a constant stream of underage girls to his Manhattan townhouse, one law enforcement official said. He is accused of shuttling the girls between the townhouse and his home in Palm Beach, Florida, paying them in cash and urging them to recruit other underage girls to visit his home. The girls were initially recruited to give him massages. But he frequently escalated the encounters into sex acts, a law enforcement source says, including groping and touching the girls' genitalia. This pattern continued from at least 2002 to 2005, a source said. On Saturday, a neighbor near East 71st Street home purchased by Mr. Epstein in mid-1990s took a photograph reviewed by the New York Times that showed FBI agents and New York Police Department officials using a crowbar to force open the mansion's tall wooden doors. The mansion, which runs along East 71st Street between 5th and Madison Avenues, has been one of the largest townhouses in Manhattan. It contains at least 7 floors and covers 21,000 square feet. At some point, you just have too much money, right? A spokesman for the United States Attorney's Office in Manhattan declined to comment on this Sunday. A lawyer for Mr. Epstein could not immediately reach for comment. Women who said they were victims of Mr. Epstein when they were girls have previously described being assaulted at the Upper East Side residence. One of the accusers, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, said in court documents that Mr. Epstein forced her to have sex with him at the mansion. She settled on a separate lawsuit against Mr. Epstein in 2009. Jeez. Mr. Epstein had earlier been accused of maintaining a similar arrangement at his mansion in Palm Beach after parents of Mr. Epstein victims approached the police there in 2005. The case ballooned rapidly, according to documents reviewed by the Miami Herald. Officials soon identified at least 36 potential victims. In all, investigators found abuse dating back to 2001, the victims as young as 13. A subsequent investigation by the Herald, no mention of Mike Cernovich, by the way, identified more than 60 victims, and witnesses have testified in later civil cases. That number may have reached into the hundreds. Federal prosecutors in Miami prepared a sweeping 53-page federal indictment against Mr. Epstein. In 2008, he was abruptly shelved after prosecutors negotiated a secret deal with Epstein's lawyers. Prosecutors did not tell the victims about the deal they made with Mr. Epstein until after the judge approved it. What a dick move. Instead of facing life in prison, Mr. Epstein pleaded guilty to 2 prostitution charges in the state court and served about a year in Palm Beach jail, though he was allowed to leave the facilities 6 days a week, 12 hours a day on work release privileges. Jesus, what a sweetheart deal. Mr. Epstein also shielded any co-conspirators, Clintons, who may have helped him arrange his sexual rendezvous and stayed in contact with his victims. The deal was negotiated in part by Alexander Acosta, the former United States Attorney in the Southern District of Florida, who now serves as Mr. Trump's Labor Secretary. Mr. Acosta met privately with the lawyer, Mr. Epstein, in his office, allowed the financiers' lawyers to dictate many of the plea deal's terms. In February, a federal judge ruled that federal prosecutors had broken the law in 2008 by not keeping Mr. Epstein's victim informed of the plea deal. The Justice Department has also opened an inquiry into the case with how it was handled. During the investigation, Mr. Epstein retained an array of powerful lawyers, including Harvard professor emeritus Alan Dershowitz and Kenneth Starr, the former special prosecutor that did Clinton. Jeez. The bold-faced names are not unusual for Mr. Epstein. Mr. Clinton, Bill Clinton, flew on Mr. Epstein's private jet multiple times according to flight records. Prince Andrew of Britain was a frequent social companion. Mr. Trump in 2002 told New York Magazine that Mr. Epstein was a terrific guy. He said he was a lot of fun to be with. Quote, it is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. The Upper East Side Fortress was previously owned by Leslie Wexner, a business mogul whose companies included Victoria's Secret. Mr. Wexner, who was the only client of Mr. Epstein's money management firm, he sold the house Mr. Epstein in the mid-1990s. Mr. Epstein gave a party to Prince Andrew at the mansion after being released from Florida jail in 2011. Whoa! So who knows? There's going to be some interesting things that come down about this. Essentially, with all these high, powerful names, I have a funny suspicion that a lot of these names are going to get blotted out, left off the court documents, if you will, or they'll say co-conspirator 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. But I also have a funny feeling that he's going to try to implicate the president somehow. I just have a funny feeling that may happen, just because of the grave circumstances of his cases. And so, of course, people who are on the left are gonna go off the rails, accusing him of wrongdoing without any evidence other than being pointed out by a convicted, well, at this point, a proprietor of prostitution and part of his plea deal. So we'll see how it goes, but expect this to get stupid and crazy over the next couple of months in the upcoming 2020 election. There is no doubt about that. Wow.